Welcome back, all you Chumbas, all my real rats, cool cats. Talking about classes again. This one we're talking about the Enforcer. Okay? Enforcer is your soldier, well, for a lack of a better term. Enforcers are tough and versatile. Most have a military background or law enforcement background, and they built on that training over the years. Be very effective at what they do. Very little action takes place in the city without involving them. They're everywhere. But before we jump into the meat of it, be sure to subscribe and click the bell for notifications if you like this kind of content. As always, all the social media is going to be down below. Mine, Dragon Turtle Games, and that beautiful music you hear in the background is from Syrinscape. Click their link, check them out for all your tabletop gaming needs, virtual or physical. So as we look a little bit deeper, one thing that we keep in mind is violence is the fashion that never goes out of style. Enforcers are a must for any aspiring cyberpunk gang. Their sheer expertise in weapons and explosive gives the gang a serious foundation for mayhem. Specialized enforcers fill niche roles in elite assassination squads, demo squads, or other delicate operations as part of a corporate or other powerful agencies. Many enforcers act as foot soldiers in private armies, while others serve as personal henchmen of the elite. Whatever their style, an enforcer is a valuable weapon in fighting against and for justice. So, again, talk with your GM. There's so many different ways you can split an enforcer, okay? Where were they trained? Was it law enforcement, military? When did they receive the training? Did they go on loan to private military and they get skills there? Did they come from some underground training facility? Who did they work for in the past? What's their history like? You know, just these are all things to think about when you're trying to flavor up your enforcer. Now we get into the meat of it. Right up to hit points. Your hit die is a 1d10 per level. Your hit points at first level are 10 plus your constitution modifier. Hit points at higher levels of 1d10 or 6 plus your constitution modifier per enforcer level at first. Next up, we're going to talk about your proficiencies. Let's get into the starting proficiencies. You get all armor and helmets, all weapons. Your saving throw is fortitude, and you get to choose 2 of the skills from what you see on the screen currently. Feel free to pause it at any time. Now we got our proficiencies table where you can see at a level glance what your proficiency bonus will be in addition to the features that you get at those levels. And we're going to dive deep into those features here in just a quick moment. First up is your fighting style. Okay, so there are a couple of different fighting styles you can choose from the list of options that the game gives you. The only thing you really have to remember is that you can't take the same fighting style option more than once, even if you get to choose it again. So that's pretty interesting. First up is the marksman. You gain a +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons. Simple enough. Next up is defensive. When you're wearing armor, you gain a +1 bonus to your armor class. Next up, we're going to talk about dueling. When you are wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon. Makes sense? Next up is the heavy weapons specialist. Could not fit all of it on the screen here, so we've abbreviated it at the end. When you roll a 1 or 2 on a damage die for an attack you make with a heavy weapon that you are wielding with 2 hands, you can re-roll the die and must use the new roll even if the new roll is a 1 or a 2. Not too complicated. Next up, 2-weapon fighting. When you engage in 2-weapon fighting, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack if you add it to the first. Okay, I'm going to reread that to you one more time from the CRB. Rules as written. When you engage in 2-weapon fighting, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack if you add it to the first. Rewind that back anytime you feel like you have a question. Or feel free to toss the questions down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. Next up and last is point-blank shooter. You suffer no penalties from making ranged attacks at close range. When making a ranged attack while you are within 5 feet of the target, you do not have disadvantage on the attack roll. That's going to bring us down into Second Wind. You have a limited well of stamina that you can draw from. Put this up on screen right now. On your turn, you can use a bonus action to regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus your Enforcer level. Once you use this feature, you must finish a short rest or a long rest before you can use it again. Feel free to pause this at any time to reread that through. Now we get into the meat of what the Enforcer is. Your combat archetypes. Okay? First up is Rapid Deployment. They are tough as nails. They make up the bulk of the combatants on the streets of San Francisco, on both sides of the law. At second level, you get Improved Critical. Your weapon attack scores a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20. Next up is Unparalleled Athleticism. This comes in at 7th level. You can add half your proficiency bonus, rounded up of course, to any strength, dexterity, or constitution check you make that doesn't already use your proficiency bonus. In addition, when you make a running long jump, the distance you can cover increases by a number of feet equal to your strength modifier. Last is Master Critical, and this comes in at 10th level, so this is endgame and beyond. You know how to bring the enemy down with the right strike. Whenever you score a critical hit, you deal 3 times the damage instead of the normal 2 times. Pretty powerful. Spend some time in your Enforcer. Level them up. The next combat archetype is the Marine. The Marine is trained to use one type of weapon better than any other, and they create a special bond with their weapon of choice. First up for the Marine is Specialized Shooting. At second level, you choose a weapon type to specialize in, for example, pistols or combat shotguns, assault rifles. When using this specialized weapon, you deal extra damage of the same type as the weapon, equal to half your level rounded down. So say, for example, at level 4, you would deal +2 damage. Make sense? I think so. If not, let me know down in the comments below. Level 7, you get Deadshot. You know your gun better than the back of your hand. When you score a critical hit with your specialized firearm type, you do not need to roll damage dice. Instead, you get max damage. End of story. Simple enough. Last up in the Marine archetype is the Broad Firing Solution. This is endgame level 10 stuff and beyond, so whenever you take attack action using your specialized weapon type, you may make additional attacks as a bonus action using that weapon. Pretty self-explanatory. And the last archetype up is the Street Samurai. You absolutely reject guns or ranged weapons of any type, preferring the honorable way of the blade. First up as a samurai, you get the bonus proficiency. And this comes in as history. Hear me out. Whenever you make a history check to recall knowledge about bladed weapons, you double your proficiency rolls. Just because you know all about the history of swordplay. Next up, you have bladed damage. You've learned to strike vital organs with bladed weapons with precision attacks. Whenever you hit with a melee attack using a bladed weapon, you deal an additional damage die as shown below. Now, I'm not showing it up on screen here because there was not enough room, but it's as follows. At second level, the additional die is 1d4. At 5th level, the additional die is 1d6. And at 10th level, the additional die is 1d8. Feel free to roll that back or toss me some questions in the comments below. Might have to add some more visuals on those. Next up is Wave the Blade. You flow like a dancer using the blade. Now this comes in at 7th level, and whenever you take the attack action using a bladed weapon, you may make an additional attack with the same weapon as a bonus action. Pretty gnarly if you ask me. Last up, endgame stuff again, Sword Mastery. Your mastery is unparalleled. Whenever you take the attack action with a bladed weapon, you may dash or disengage without using an action or a bonus action. Sounds about right for a Blade Master, if you ask me. Now, we're going to roll into some of the additional level features that you're going to see that you'll get as you level up with your Enforcer. At 3rd level, you're going to grab Action Surge. You can push yourself beyond your normal limits for a moment, And on your turn, you can take one additional action on top of your regular action as a possible bonus action. You must finish a short or long rest before you can use it again. Here's a good chunk. Character improvement, okay? You're going to get this when you reach 4th level, 6th level, and again at 8th level. And it's similar to some of the other ones where you can increase one ability score by 2 or 2 ability scores by 1. Simple enough. Coming up at 5th level, you're going to be able to grab extra attack. That's right, it is what it says it is. You can attack twice instead of once. Do this when you take the attack action on your turn. And again, the last endgame stuff we're going to talk about is tough to kill. This comes in at 9th level. So not quite 10th level, obviously. But you are determined to stay alive no matter what happens. You are reduced to 0 hit points or are killed outright. You can make a DC 10 Fortitude saving throw. On success, you regain 1 hit point and consciousness. Once you have used this feature, you must complete a long rest before you're able to do so again. I appreciate everybody stopping by, taking the time to check out these videos. Let me know your feelings in the comments below. Like, dislike, I leave that up to you. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell if you like that content. All my social media links are down below, as well as Dragon Turtle Games. And the beautiful music you hear in the background throughout the entirety of this session is Syrinscape, the one and only for all your tabletop gaming needs. We'll see you guys next time.